Right now, somewhere on this planet, there's a venomous snake lying less than 10 feet from a sleeping human, maybe under a porch, maybe coiled near a woodpile in the backyard, maybe closer than that, and it is not going to bite them. Think about how strange that actually is. You're lying there, completely unconscious, completely defenseless, breathing slow and steady, and an animal that could kill you with a single bite is close enough to feel your warmth, and it does absolutely nothing. So what's going on here? Why doesn't this happen more often? Let's actually figure this out. First, understand what a snake is actually capable of. Pit vipers like rattlesnakes and copperheads have heat-sensing organs on their faces so sensitive they can detect a temperature difference of a fraction of a degree from several feet away. They can strike in under half a second, faster than your eyes can track. They can sense the faintest vibration in the ground through their jawbones. And their sense of smell, using their tongue and a structure called the Jacobson's organ, is good enough to track prey through total darkness. If a snake wanted to find you, locate you, and strike you while you slept, nothing about its biology would stop it. It has every tool required, and yet almost every single night, it chooses not to use any of them. Here's the first piece of the puzzle. Venom is expensive. Producing it takes real metabolic energy, and a snake that's just used its venom on something it can't eat has wasted a resource it might desperately need later for actual prey. So a snake's entire decision-making process, if you can call it that, is built around one question: is this worth it? And you, a giant warm mass roughly the size of a small car compared to a snake, do not register as food. You're not the right shape, the right size, or the right movement pattern for anything a snake would normally hunt. To a snake's brain, you're not prey, you're terrain. You're part of the landscape it needs to get around, not something on the menu. This is where something called prey recognition comes in. Snakes don't see the world the way we do. They build a kind of internal map using heat signatures, chemical trails, and vibration patterns. And that map sorts everything into categories: threat, food, or nothing. A sleeping human throws off heat, sure, but the size, the shape, and the lack of any small prey movement pattern means you get filed under nothing. Not threat, not food, just background. Which means, biologically speaking, a sleeping person is often less interesting to a snake than the mouse it can hear rustling 6 feet away. But there's a deeper reason underneath all of this, and it goes back millions of years. There's a theory called the snake detection hypothesis, and it argues that one of the reasons primates, including our ancestors, developed such sharp color vision and wide peripheral awareness was specifically to spot snakes before they struck. For millions of years, primates that noticed snakes early survived, and primates that didn't. Now, flip that around. Snakes that approached a group of alert snake-spotting primates and got noticed often ended up dead, beaten with sticks, crushed under rocks. Over time, the snakes that survived were the ones with the strongest instinct to avoid large primates entirely. Both sides of this relationship were quietly training each other for millions of years, long before humans ever built a house or lit a fire. So if all of that is true, why do snake bites happen at all? Because they do. People do get bitten in their sleep occasionally, and when researchers look closely at these cases, they almost always fall into one of three categories. The first is thermal regulation. Snakes are cold-blooded, and on a chilly night, a warm sleeping bag or a warm body under a blanket is genuinely attractive, not as food, but as a heat source. A snake might crawl in seeking warmth, and if a sleeper rolls over and traps it, it bites purely in self-defense, not as an attack. The second is accidental contact. Someone shifts in their sleep, a hand or foot presses down on a snake that was simply passing through, and the bite is a reflex, not a decision. The third is confinement. A snake that ends up trapped somewhere with no way out, inside a shoe, a sleeping bag, a tight corner, and suddenly has a human limb moving toward it, has no escape route left, so it strikes. Notice what's missing from that list. A snake that deliberately, calmly decided to bite a sleeping person who posed no threat and offered no food. That essentially doesn't happen. Here's something most people don't know. Rattlesnakes literally evolved a warning system specifically so they wouldn't have to bite anything. That rattle exists for one purpose: to make a large animal go away before things escalate to violence. A snake that can scare you off without striking gets to keep its venom, avoid a fight it might lose, and go back to actually hunting. Even snakes without out rattles often do something similar, freezing completely still, hoping you simply don't notice them and walk away. A snake's first, second, and third choice is almost always to avoid you. Biting is a last resort, not the plan. And here's the part that should really sit with you. For most of human history, we've told stories about snakes as if they're lurking, waiting, hunting us in the dark. But from the snake side of things, you are the terrifying one. You're enormous, unpredictable, and historically, you and your ancestors have killed an incredible number of snakes on sight. The fear, it turns out, runs both directions. And honestly, the snake has more reason to be afraid of you than you have to be afraid of it. And the numbers back this up. The vast majority of snake bites worldwide happen during the day to people who are working in fields, walking through tall grass, or accidentally stepping on a snake they didn't see. Bites that occur to someone who is asleep, indoors, in a bed, make up a tiny fraction of total cases, statistically close to negligible in most regions. You are far more likely to get bitten reaching into a woodpile in broad daylight than you are lying motionless under a blanket at 2 a.m. So the next time you hear something rustle outside your window at night and your mind jumps straight to fangs in the dark, remember this: whatever's out there already knows exactly where you are, and it has already decided you're not worth the risk. It's not hunting you, it's just trying to get past you without either of you noticing the other. Sleep easy.